From Tree Rex to Eyebrow, we all love and know the Skylanders Giants. But today is their day to be ranked from worst to best. Now today I will be using the same ranking system that I have used in the past, like my SWAT Force video that took me an hour but was well worth it. So basically I'll be looking into every single possible upgrade and ranking every single one out of 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. Each giant has the ability to reach a maximum of 65 points, making it a possibly perfect Skylander. After I rate every ability, you will get a final score out of 65. And when I'm done with all 8 Skylanders Giants, I will rank them from worst to best based on score. But then at the very end, I will also give my personal biased ranking from favorite to least favorite, and we all get to see how they differ from one another. Now, some of you guys may notice that the ranking part of this video looks familiar. It's actually from my 10-year anniversary of Skylanders Giants. But it also got hidden in that video along with like 3 other rankings and just me appreciating Skylanders Giants. So I figured I'd grab out all those rankings and post them separately for everyone to see that maybe they didn't get to. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the ranking. Alright, so our first giant today is Tree Rex. So let's go to his abilities, or his upgrades I should say. So first off, he has a Shockwave Slam. This one's good, powerful one-hit main attack with a slight delay in between uses. That slight delay holding it back from being perfect, so it is a 4 out of 5. Next up we have the Sequoia Stampede. This one's his charge move. It's a great speed move for a giant that also does great damage, and also provides a little bit of a knockback. So this one gets a 5 out of 5. Next up, we have the Photosynthesis Cannon. Have trouble saying that one. Alright, this one does good damage. It's a ranged attack that gives Tree Rex a triple threat of speed with the charge move, power with the slam move, and then range with this move. Next up, we have the Big Thorn Shockwave Slam. Now he gets to charge it up and do fantastic damage. 5 out of 5, without a doubt. Next up, we got Super Stampede. This one just increases damage, so instant 5 out of 5. And now we have Tree Folk Triple Shot. This one just provides 3 shots instead of 1. They go in bursts, which with hardly any delay really. So this one's a 5 out of 5. Alright, so now we're going to go to the top path here with the Titanic Elbow Drop. This one is crazy. It does massive damage after charging, but can be left vulnerable after using. You kind of lay on the ground for a little bit. Next up we have Light-Footed. You get the duration is longer, it's faster, do more damage, 5 out of 5. And then lastly, we have the Ultimate Stampede, where you do maximum damage, 5 out of 5. Alright, time for the bottom path. We got Supercharged Vaporizer. This one is fantastic. It does massive damage to a single target, and it's really useful when you have a giant that can attack from long range for massive damage. Next up, we have the Sun Skewer. Now the Photosynthesis Cannon blasts through enemies, so you can hit multiple enemies. This is a 5 out of 5. And then lastly, we have the Pod Maker, where exploding enemies pretty much turn into plants, which then explode, damaging other enemies. So this is a 5 out of 5. No questions asked on that one. And then lastly, we have the Woodpecker Pal for the Soul Gem. This one is a 5 out of 5. It's a good damage minion. It's nothing crazy, but it's a good damage that never expires is the thing. It never goes away. So, in saying that, that's a 5 out of 5, leaving Tree Rex with a final score of 63 out of 65.
I've got my eye on you.
Everybody welcome Eyebrow. So let's jump into his upgrades real quick and take a look. Alright, first up we have the Haymaker. It's fast, very fast, and deals great damage, so this one's a 5 out of 5. Next we have Eye Fly. This one's useful for distant enemies, but leaves your body very vulnerable. This is a 2 out of 5. That's how vulnerable you are. Next up, we have an Eye in Team. This one is very low damage and very close ranged, so another 2 out of 5. Very disappointing. Next up, we have the awesome Ocublast. This one just increases the rate of fire, so it's a 5 out of 5. The Pummeler increases damage, 5 out of 5. Headless, not helpless. This one's very important. It gives your body protection. But the punches are super, super slow, so you still get hit quite a bit. But you do some damage, I guess. So it's a 3 out of 5 for me. So now onto the top path, we have the Eyebrow combos. These ones are both very easy to use and very powerful. So it's a 5 out of 5. Next up, we have the Ultimate Pummeler. This one just increases damage, so it's a 5 out of 5. And then lastly, in this path, we have new armor. So this one just increases armor, so it's a 5 out of 5. A perfect path up there. All right. On the bottom path, we have Asserting Independence. This one increases speed and duration of eye attack, so all stat boosts, so 5 out of 5. Next up, we have Eye Crawlers. Good for continuous damage after the first hit. The little eyeballs come up out of the ground, so 5 out of 5. It's small damage, but it does a lot over time. And then next, you have Bouncy Bouncy, which allows you to bounce the eyeball off the ground. I hated this move at first, but when I went through and was rating them all, I found I love this move. I thought you could only use it once every once in a while, but nope, you can continuously use this thing. This thing is great and does great damage, so it's a 5 out of 5. So lastly, we have the Soul Gem. You'll shoot your eye out. Everybody, you better know what movie that's a little pitch to. But anyways, you get to hold your main attack to charge up your eyeball and shoot it as a projectile, which it's pretty inaccurate most of the time, but it does good damage, so it gets a 4 out of 5. Leaving Eyebrow with a final score of a 57 out of 65.
Any last wishes?
Now it's time for Ninjini. Alright, so let's go into upgrades. Alright, first up we have Wish Blades, which are 2 powerful sword swipes, which are great, other than the fact that there's a delay in between that's pretty large and leaves you vulnerable. But it does come with a great basic combo attack, so it does get a 4 out of 5. Next up, we have the Bottle Blast. This one's low damage. It's one hit and provides a tiny little knockback, so it's a 2 out of 5 for me. Next up, we have Surrealistic Spheres. This one does decent damage with a small pause between throws, so it's a 3 out of 5 for me. Next up, we have Abracadabra. This one just increases damage, so 5 out of 5. This one's Juggling Act, so now you can hold to summon, I think, 4 of your magical orbs and throw them in different directions, which never seem to hit. So it's a 3 out of 5 for me. It keeps the same damage pretty much, and just very inaccurate. Now we have Bottle Rockets. Pretty much just shoot really slow rockets with really low damage while you're in your bottle form. So this one's a 2 out of 5. So now for the top path, we have Wishblade combos. This one's are average combos, nothing special. They're not a huge damage. You literally give up your blades half the time. So it's nothing really special. 4 out of 5. Now we have Wishblade Explosion. Now you get to charge up your swords to do this massive blast, and I love this move. It's a short load time. This one's a 5 out of 5. Now we have the Ultimate Wishblade. This one increases damage. Instant 5 out of 5. Now for the bottom path, we have Super Surrealistic Spheres. I'm going to mess that up so many times. Now your magical orbs do more damage and to a greater area, so that's a 5 out of 5. Just increases stats and, area of effect. Now, Ultimate Bottle Rockets. This one increases speed, damage, and area of effect, so this one's a 5 out of 5. And lastly, we have Buy a Better Bottle, which just gives you pretty much more armor, and it's faster in bottle form. So that's a 5 out of 5. And lastly, we have the Soul Gem, the Dazzling Enchantment. This one stuns enemies, but only medium and small enemies. It's completely useless against large enemies or bosses, which is when you'd want to actually use it, because the small enemies you can take out quickly. So this one gets at 4 out of 5, leaving Ninjini with a final score of 52 out of 65. Now we have Bouncer. So let's jump into his upgrades. First up, we have the Finger Guns. Quick shots, good damage, 5 out of 5. Next up, we have Shoulder Rockets. These ones do great damage to a small area, but they seek the enemies. So this is a 5 out of 5. Then we have Eye Beam, which does good damage, but but it lowers your movement speed by a ton, and it doesn't last that long. So 3 out of 5. Now you have targeting computer. Now you get to aim your rockets, but it's kind of useless when they seek the enemies anyways. So 4 out of 5. Next, we have the machine finger guns. This one increases the rate of fire, not damage. It does not increase the damage of the shots, but it makes you extremely slow as well. So it's like give or take. So 4 out of 5. Next up, we have Cooler Eye Beam, which increases damage and duration. So this is a 5 out of 5. Now let's go to the top path. Double targets. Target 6 enemies, and it can take a while to manually aim at 6 different enemies, but it can be worth it in the end. So 4 out of 5. Now we have Rockets on Demand. Unlimited rockets. 5 out of 5. Then lastly, we have Atomic Clouds. This one, your rockets now explode, leaving or damaging a wider area, so that's great. 5 out of 5. Oh, all right, bottom. Super Machine Finger Guns. Rate of fire increases, and so does the damage, so 5 out of 5. Professionally Cool Eye Beam. This one increases damage and duration, so it's a 5 out of 5. And then lastly, we have our Laser Mines. Now, you can have up to 3 laser mines that do pretty great damage, honestly. And they go towards the enemies. They kind of like sway from side to side. They're pretty cool, pretty useful, and really easy to use. So that's a 5 out of 5. Then lastly, we have the Fists of Destruction. Not the Fist of Arcus, the Fist of Destruction. This does great damage with a fast charge rate, so I have no issues with this one. 5 out of 5. Leaving Bouncer with a final score of 60 out of 65. Now it's time for the slowest Skylander ever created, Crusher. First up, we have the Crusher's Crusher. These are quick, powerful hammer slams with a great basic combo, so 5 out of 5. Next up, we have Turn to Stone. This will turn all small to medium-sized enemies in front of you to stone. It's really good for crowd control since Crusher has really slow speed, so it's a 5 out of 5. Next up, we have the Ground Grinder. This is good damage. It's also a ranged attack that can be used with the slam, so it's really useful. So 5 out of 5. Next up, we have the disappointing Rock Slide, as you can tell by my mood now. This is low damage and the most inaccurate, hard to control abilities in Skylanders. This is a 1 out of 5. I can't give that one anything. Now we have Super Crusher. Just increases damage, so that's a 5 out of 5. Now we have Cave Light Blast. This is good damage. It does a good damage blast that can be used repetitively with the eye beams. It's not like you use it and then you reset your eye beams. Nope, your eye beams stay there, freezing enemies in stone while you can use this pulse. It's great. 5 out of 5. Top path. Crusher combos. 2 very powerful and useful combos for 5 out of 5. Next we have Hammer Daddy. Now this just increases damage, so 5 out of 5. And then we have Triple Ground Grinder. Notice how slow I had to say that? 3 cracks in the ground instead of 1, affecting a very large area in front of you, doing great damage. So this is a 5 out of 5. Now for the bottom, we have Controlled Rock Slide. Now this barely helps control anything, so it's a 2 out of 5 still. It does not help at all. Next up, we have the Boulder Bombs. These are good damaging explosions, and they're useful if you can get the rock slide anywhere near anyone. So it's a 2 out of 5. It's impossible, I swear. And then lastly, we have the Bedrock Armor, which increases armor and looks awesome. So it's a 5 out of 5. And then the very last thing is the Soul Gem, of course. We have Rock Slide now. Now hold to steer the boulders, but he must have just learned how to drive or has no idea how to drive because there's no control in this. It's still really difficult, but I give him a point for trying. So 3 out of 5. Thanks for trying. Overall, 53 out of 65. Now it's time for Swarm. So let's get this little button. Upgrades. Let's go. Barb Blades. Average speed attack. Not as slow as I thought. They do great damage though. So it's 4 out of 5 for me. Flight of the Wasp. This increases movement speed while flying. Also, good damage and fast range attacks. It's what I use the most. 5 out of 5. Sharpened Barbs increases damage. 5 out of 5. Winging It, you get to fly faster and it lasts for longer. So 5 out of 5. Swarm Form. Another not great move. It's like Crusher's Rock Slide ability. You literally can't attack. You can't fly. You can't do anything other than walk around as a bunch of bees. It doesn't make much sense. 2 out of 5. Stinger Shot. Quick charge up speed and great damage to enemies directly in front of you. It's pretty easy to aim though. So 4 out of 5. Top Path. Razor Wings. Now, the wings will damage anything they touch. It helps give you a little bit of defense because they'll hit things behind you while you're shooting at things in front of you. So this is 5 out of 5. You have 360 degrees of damage pretty much. Now we have Better Barb Blast, increases damage, 5 out of 5. And then Ultimate Barbs, your barb blades do maximum damage, 5 out of 5. Now for the bottom path, the Swarm Storm. This one increases damage and area of effect, so 5 out of 5. Now we have the Insect Explosion. This is a good damage shockwave that can be used 3 times. It's 3 times, and then it shuts off, so 4 out of 5. Now we have the Bee Cleaver. This does great damage to a single hit and can be used 4 times until Swarm Form deactivates. So 5 out of 5, my bad. And then lastly, the Soul Gem. B is for Butt Stinger. This one is a single hit. It's a tracking barb, so it'll go to a single target behind you. And it does good damage. So kind of underwhelming, so it's a 4 out of 5, leaving Swarm with a final score of 58 out of 65.
Hail to the whale!
Now it's Thumpback's turn. Let's jump into the upgrades. First up, we have the Anchor Assault. This does great damage, huge range. It'll hit like everything on the screen almost. And it has a great basic combo, so 5 out of 5. Now we have the Belly Flop. This does good damage to enemies that are very close by, so 4 out of 5. Then we have a Whale of a Chomp. This is very close ranged, but it does great damage to a single hit, so it's a 4 out of 5. Now we have Slippery Belly. This increases damage, also a great way to travel fast as a giant, so it's a 5 out of 5. The Whalist Chomp increases damage, so this is a 5 out of 5. Now there's an Anchor. Increases damage to the Anchor attack, 5 out of 5. Top path, here we go. Thumpback combos. Now these are very slow combos, but one is very useful and the other one does good damage. See, the Whirlpool is useful, doesn't do a ton of damage, but allows you to hit enemies a lot. And the Power Swing does great damage. So it's pick or choose, whichever one you want to do. So 4 out of 5. Next, we have the Bermuda Triangle. This just increases the power of the Whirlpool from the combo, so it increases strength, therefore 5 out of 5. Now we have the Ultimate Anchor. Now this is the best anchor you could find. Increases damage, 5 out of 5. Now we're on to the bottom path, if I can click on the right one. Breakfast in Bed. This one is interesting. This one is, you get to bite while sliding. It does good damage, but can only be used twice before sliding ends. So you just got to use it like immediately when you start sliding, and then like immediately again. So you kind of got to be very strategic with it. 4 out of 5. Next we have Armor of the Sea. Increases your armor, 5 out of 5. And Bad Sushi. This one's a burst of good damage, and to a pretty decent sized area as well. So 4 out of 5. Now lastly we have the Soul Gem, Blowhard. This does small, good damage shockwave to anyone close by, but it's very underwhelming for a Soul Gem. It's literally the smallest shockwave you guys have ever seen. So 4 out of 5, leaving Thumpback with a final score of 59 out of 65.
Hey, I'm on fire!
And the last giant today we have is Hothead. So let's jump into his upgrades and see how Hothead does to close out the ranking of the Giants. First up, we have the Flame Fire Burst. Endless fire, decent range, and good damage. So 5 out of 5. Now we have Oil Blobs. These are good damage, easy to aim, but they don't really last long though. So 4 out of 5. Now we have Premium Grade. This increases damage of your oil, so 5 out of 5. Now we have Sizzle Shower. Only good for small enemies. It's very low damage, very small area, and a very short duration. So use it wisely, 3 out of 5. Turn up the heat. Now, this one just increases damage, so 5 out of 5. Next we have Extended Forecast. Increases damage and duration, so 5 out of 5. Now for the top path, we have Eternal Flame. This increases damage, so 5 out of 5. Hot Oil Treatment increases damage, 5 out of 5. Fossil Fuel, short duration, average damage minions, and you can have 3 active max. If you try to put a 4th out there, the other one will just, kind of run away. I don't know. 3 out of 5. Now for the bottom path, we have Firestorm. Increases damage and range of the Sizzle Shower, so 5 out of 5. Oil and Fire. This is great damage, shockwave, explosion to anyone nearby, but it can be a little difficult to use sometimes. I don't know why, but sometimes it won't hit, so it's a 4 out of 5. And then lastly, for this path, we have Hot with a Chance of Meteors. This does huge damage to a decent-sized area, but there is a large charge time to it. So you get a lot of damage, you just got to wait a little bit. So 4 out of 5. And then possibly the coolest, well, should I say hottest? Soul Gem, Hot Rod. This is fast and does good damage when you hit enemies. It's a little hard to control. It feels like you're kind of driving on ice sometimes, but it's a great way to travel and makes him, Hothead, who's a pretty slow Skylander by walking speed, it makes him a lot more fun to use and use throughout the story mode when you get to travel fast. So 5 out of 5, leaving Hothead with a final score of 58 out of 65. Alright, so now it is time for you guys to see how the upgrade ranking stacked up against my favorite to least favorite ranking of the Skylander Giants. So, let's get into this. For the upgrade ranking, in 7th place, for a 52 score, we have Ninjini. In 6th place, Crusher, 53. 5th, Eyebrow with a 57. At number 4, we have Swarm and Hothead at 58. Number 3, we have Thumpback at a 59. Number 2, Bouncer with a 60. And Tree Rex at number 1 with a 63 out of 65. Now, that was the upgrade ranking. So let's compare that to my favorite to least favorite ranking. All right, so number 8, I have Ninjini. Pretty accurate. 7, Crusher. Pretty accurate. 6, Eyebrow. 5, Thumpback. 4, Bouncer. 3, Hothead. 2, Swarm. And number 1, my favorite giant, Tree Rex. All right, so there you go. That is it. That concludes it for this video. Make sure you comment down below your personal ranking of your favorite to least favorite and also which ones you think are the best. Other than that, I have nothing else for you guys. Just make sure you check out the link tree in the description of this video for all of my socials, my other YouTube channels, the eBay shop where I sell Skylanders and a bunch of other collectible stuff. And as always, keep saving Skylands, and I'll see you guys all soon.